the husband at some point just cut off all communication.
Hey family, and welcome back to another episode on our true crime series. Today we will be covering Alexis Sharkey. Alexis was a 26-year-old influencer who was found dead on the side of the road due to strangulation.
Alexis Sharkey was found dead on the side of the road by a trash man in Houston, Texas. She was found naked and strangled, and at the time they thought she was a mannequin. And so the trash truck driver kept going, and he called his boss and had him to double back to come check because he thought surely it wasn't a dead body on the side of the road. It had to be a mannequin, but it was pretty weird. So the first thing they saw was a pair of feet sticking out. So he sent his boss back, and that's who actually made the gruesome discovery. So they went through the whole process of calling the police and things like this. They had no leads at this time. So they called in the police. They did the whole nine, all the investigating and things like that. And they had to call in her husband, Tom Sharkey, and to come identify the body. He came in and identified the body and things like that. And that was that. They put him through the whole questioning process. According to him, no one wanted to hurt her. He don't understand. He basically didn't know nothing. Now, when they found out that it was Alexis Sharkey, it was a missing person report put out on her. She had been missing for a few days at this point. So they found her, and at this point it was time to go through the investigation.
Right.
So she was a popular influencer on Instagram and
Social
TikTok.
media, period,
all of social media. She was born in Pennsylvania, and she attended the University of Pittsburgh. She ended up attaining her degree, and she went on to law school. She got to a point to where law school was taking a toll on her, and she just didn't want to do that anymore. So she ended up moving to Texas and getting a job at the popular sports bar, Twin Peaks. And if you don't know what Twin Peaks is, it's kind of like Hooters and things like that. They wear like skirts and crop tops and things like that. It's where a lot of men go and watch sports games and things like that. Well, at one point, she made a lot of friends there. She was a very outgoing person. Everyone liked her. She realized that she thrived in areas with big people.
Yeah.
She was a great talker. So like that was the environment she liked it. And at some point, she met her husband, Tom Sharkey, at the sports bar, and they ended up moving to Houston, Texas together.
And I mean, after moving to Houston, everything looked like it was perfect. Like her social media was perfect, her marriage was perfect. They like to travel. She was really big on traveling. She even said before that, eventually she wanted to have enough money so she could travel a lot of places. So that's something that her and her husband enjoyed. If you go to her YouTube, you'll see several videos of just her and her husband going different places. And you would think everything was perfect. Now, friends did mention how at one point they had separated bank accounts and had divorce papers drawn up. And how that she was scared of him basically and was wanting to leave him.
And all this came out after she was found dead. So what ended up happening was she grew tired of working at the sports bar. It just took a toll on her. She didn't want to do that anymore. She wanted a different life. She wanted pretty much her dream life. So her husband worked for an oil company, and that allowed him to travel a lot, and that was right up her alley. They loved to travel, so she ended up basically just taking a break from the sports bar, quitting the sports bar. She was financially supported by her husband, Tom. He made great money with the oil company. So that's what she did. And at this time, she ended up getting like side gigs and things like that to make extra money just to have it. At one point, she ended up partnering with a major hair product company, and she excelled at it. Like, she hit it off really good right off the bat. They ended up saying that she worked her way up in the company as up to an executive director within months, and according to her website, she was earning up to like 30-some thousand
a month.
$30-some thousand a month. So she was doing great.
Yeah.
She was doing so good in the company to where they bought her a personal vehicle for free, and she earned all these exclusive vacations. So at this point, she was able to finally live her dream life.
Right.
So they went on lots of vacations. Her and her husband liked the hike, so they would go in the mountains and things like that. They looked like a perfect couple.
Yeah.
He was, I believe, double his age. Double her age. He had been married once before already with 2 kids that was almost her age. He was twice the age of her, but none of that seemed to matter. Like, she posted him on her social media, painted him as the perfect husband, and you would think she had the perfect life.
Yeah.
But after all this came about, 3 of her friends ended up gathering together and getting in front of their camera and pretty much just explaining that everything wasn't so peachy as it seemed on the internet. Like, they had got into arguments around this time. They was had divorce papers drawn up. So everyone believed that she was planning to leave Tom and didn't actually know how to do it.
Right.
So at some point they believed that they got into a argument, and what took place, they ended up finding out that the cause of death was strangulation. Her husband was cooperative with the police at first. Right off the bat, he was answering phone calls. He was going down to the police station, talking with them. Everything checked out. He wasn't a suspect, but they had no leads, and they knew somebody killed her. And so the Houston Police Department was determined to solve this case. So
Let me just say, when they found her body, the worker that found her body said she looked like she had just got out the tub. Like, she was so clean. And she was just naked. But he said for her to be laying out there like that, she looked extremely clean. No marks, no bruises, none of that.
He was cooperative with them. Everything was going good, but they had no leads. So they didn't really know where to go. Well, at some point, they end up gathering and talking with the friends and basically telling them that they should check into him more. Now, what raised concerns was she worked off her cell phone. So she was a popular Instagram influencer for a lot of luxury brands, as well as the hair company I mentioned before. So she worked off her phone. It wasn't a day that she didn't go without social media.
Right.
She would post every hour on the hour. So one day she didn't post on social media for like 12 hours. And her friends knew that wasn't like her. So they was contacting her. They wasn't getting no response back and things like that. And that's when the friends called her mother. Her mother said she hadn't talked to her. So at that point, they issued a missing person report. And it's kind of strange that the husband didn't.
Right. Like, if your wife is missing for all this time, you know, why would you not issue a missing persons report? That was super weird.
Yep. But they ended up finding her body on the side of the road. The autopsy showed that she had died from strangulation. And they ended up digging deep into the case. And the husband at some point just cut off all communication. He stopped answering the phone for the cops. He stopped answering the phone for the family members. And at this point, it got really weird. So that's when the cops pretty much dug in and start to look into her husband, Tom Sharkey. So the case was never really solved, but it became pretty clear that he was the only one that could have done this, the only one that could have had the opportunity to done this, because she didn't hang out. She hung out with these one group of friends, and these friends hadn't seen her. They hadn't talked to her. They had been trying to contact her, and they couldn't get to her. And they was aware that she was planning on leaving him. The divorce papers was already drew up. And one of her last social media posts she made, she said that she was going to skip town again. And at this time, she was moving to Tulum, Mexico. She said that she loved the vibe of the city.
There,
she wanted to move there for the aesthetics and the sinks. So she said she liked it, that place. And on that trip that she went to, she actually met a Houston DJ while she was there. Now, no one know
how deep relationship went, or, you know, what happened there, but something definitely happened with them.
So they don't know if Tom Sharkey found out about that. They don't even know if it was an intimate relationship. They just know they
Right.
met, and he was from Houston, and they met in Tulum. So some people think that
They
she was
just
moving
clicked.
there to get away from Tom and kind of avoid him, but no one really
Probably.
knows.
And another thing that was super suspicious was Tom's story change. So he initially called one of her friend's husband or boyfriend and was asking him if he's seen her and how she um, ran out the house and hopped in a black car and left, and he haven't seen her since. And then his story changed again, saying she ran out the house with no shoes on and just ran on foot, jumped the gate. So his story constantly changed. It wasn't making sense. Stuff wasn't adding up. And at first, people were saying, okay, well, maybe he's, processing everything. Maybe he's really, you know, going through it right now. But eventually, they end up cracking down on him, and he was found dead in a family member's house in Florida with a single gunshot wound to the head. So that that just, in my opinion, um, makes me think that you knew a lot more than what you put off, and that you were basically trying to run away from the situation.
And he didn't like he wasn't found dead like someone just walked in the room and found him dead. He actually ran up to the top bedroom and shot himself in the head when he found out that
Police was
the
there.
police was at the house to talk to him. So he was there, well, alive. Everything was going good when he got the information that these police was here to talk to him about this case once again.
He ran upstairs and
He ran upstairs and pretty much took his own life. So, I mean, they kind of knew that what he was telling them wasn't the truth because his story kept changing. Then, after talking with Alexis Sharkey friends, they was telling the police how everything wasn't as good as it seemed on the internet, and how they was planning to split, and how they used to get in arguments. So they pretty much had what they needed, and they issued an arrest warrant, and that's what they was actually there to do, to arrest him in Florida. But unfortunately, he ran upstairs in a bedroom and took his own life.
Yeah. This is another sad story. To see such a beautiful life. If you guys go to her social medias or her YouTube, you'll see how beautiful and how outgoing and how vivacious she was. And it's so sad that her life had to end that way. But yeah, we definitely wanted to shed light and say that we're praying for her family even still today. This happened November of 2020, so it's still, fairly new. So yeah, we're just praying for her family, and may her soul rest in peace. We definitely, if you guys have any true crimes that you want us to cover, any cases that you want us to shed light on, definitely leave those down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. We try to post at least once a week, and we'll definitely go back to twice a week here soon. Just bear with us, you guys. We love y'all as always, and we will see you in the next one.